This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
Economic hardship. Yes, very bad. Not death. Emotional stress from being locked in a house. Very bad. Not death. Domestic violence on the increase. Very bad. Not death.
This is Wretched Radio. That was Governor Cuomo helping us to understand why it is people perhaps you love, maybe you used to even be friends with them, why you are disagreeing on coronavirus, and way more important, why you and I disagree theologically, especially perhaps when it comes to the issue of application of theology. Let us dive in to figure out why we are coming up with a different conclusion to the issue of the coronavirus shutdown, open up, lockdown, quarantine, extend it. We got a curve, we got a spike. How do we deal with this? You've got an opinion. There's probably about 70 other opinions in your life. Why are we coming up with a different response? And the answer to that question will help us understand why we have denominations and why we have fights in the church. Won't that be worth the journey? Please note, disclaimer, I am not, I repeat, not making any sort of commentary on whether we should open up or stay shut down. Yes, I've got an opinion. I'm desperately trying to not even give a hint of what it might be, because that is not the point. So if you hear this and you start arguing with me about whether we should open or close, then that will have been to miss the point. If you, underneath this video, start talking about, well, yeah, there's some epidemiologists and the statistics from Italy, and that's not the point. This has nothing to do with whether you should stay quarantined or go get a haircut or not. This is about understanding why it is that we have such a divergence of understanding of issues, especially in the church. If and you recall, regarding coronavirus, the lesser thing compared to theology and Christian discernment, I easily wrote down 12 attitudes, 12 experiences, 12 presuppositions that could cause us to have a different understanding of the issue. And I think doing a little math on this helps. Think of this, each one of these issues that you and I can have a difference of opinion on a scale of 1 to 10. So if you're at a 1 on all of these issues and somebody else is at they're at a 7. They're going to score a 70 after 10 of these markers, and you're going to be at a 10. Now draw your conclusion. Clearly it's going to be different. That's what's going on with coronavirus. This is a theological display. This is a worldview display happening in front of our very eyes. When you watch the president or your governor talk about these issues, when you watch Fauci talk about this, there are things behind it. This whole debate on numbers, which is interesting, is going to give us different results because there's so much that goes into making the decision on how we interpret statistics. And the same thing is true with interpreting the Bible and interpreting situations and interpreting the actions of other believers. So here are some of the reasons we have a difference of opinion. I mentioned our attitude toward death. You heard that loud and clear from Governor Cuomo. Hey, people are getting beat by their husbands, but it's not death. And there's something inside of it that causes the Christian to go, whoa, 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 what's going on here? There's no weighing of the issue. There's no other consideration for human beings and their safety. He seems rather myopic in his understanding of the issue because he seems to be consumed by death. Now, the Christian grasps that. We don't celebrate. Yay, some people died. Now, caveat, or a little nota bene rather, Governor Cuomo should be thrilled that the herd is being thinned. That's the evolutionary worldview. All of these people, they're talking like Christians. Hey, we don't want people to die. Hey, that's not what evolution teaches. If you're weak, you've got an underlying issue, you got to go. That's the evolutionary worldview. It's the Christian worldview that says we care. We don't want people to die. Nevertheless, Governor Cuomo and others so concerned about death that we'll lock this thing down for 2 years if we need to. Why? Because their filter is one issue, death, particularly their own. What's your attitude about death? What's your theology of death? What's your understanding of death? What's your attitude towards science? Are you worshiping the idol of science? They've got the answer for all things medical. Or do you think that there's other considerations? Human flourishing. What's going on with people, with the economy, with society? What is going to be the proportionality of it? What is the mitigated risk? How do we make that decision? And by the way, another subject perhaps for another day, we are going to have to figure this out. There's no question about it. That the unsustainability of shutting down a world, you can't keep doing that. So we will be working through this, and we will be coming up with some rules about weighing these issues. I guarantee you we will do it. Now, the only difference will be whether or not we as Christians can lead that conversation and be ahead of the curve, because it's going to be getting worked out naturally. It's happening right now. Serious, it's happening right now. What is the flattening of the curve? Where are we? What is an acceptable risk? How many people might get sick? Those things are getting worked out in front of us. The thing that we can bring to it is understanding the considerations that go into it and articulating what the issues are that go into the decision making and that bring about the disparity of understanding of these statistics. Note again, I'm not making any commentary about what is right or wrong or what the number is or when we should or shouldn't. This is so that you and I can be talking about this issue way ahead of the curve, which is going to happen. It's getting worked out even now. It always does. What's your attitude about science, statistics, medicine, government? Here's one. What's your work ethic? What does that have to do with how I understand coronavirus? Look, we bring things to the table, whether we're even aware of them or not. If you love to work, like, oh, I love it, this is just driving you bonkers, and you're going to interpret the statistics in favor of you going to work. If you border on the lazy side, well, you know, it's pretty scary out there. You're going to come up with a different decision. Now, I'm not, again, this isn't a commentary. I'm just pointing out these things are going to go into our decision-making process. What is your investment in the stock market? That's going to drive your understanding of the data and when we open and when we close. Do you have a house? Is it at risk? Are you able to make your mortgage payments? It's going to weigh into how you interpret the data. Do you have investments? What about underlying conditions? Do you have them? Are you over 65, which is unquestionably the target demo? You're going to bring that to this, and you're going to go, whoa, hey, I'm 70. I've got asthma. This thing could really kill me. Do you see how you're going to interpret the data different than a 20-year-old who's fit as a fiddle? You're going to bring that in, and you are going to make a conclusion based on some self-interest. We all get that, don't we? It is the way it works, and we need to be mindful of it. Skin color, there's another one that's being discussed right now. That what they're saying is a disproportionate number of people in the black community who are getting this and dying from this. So if you happen to be black, you're going to bring that in. If you're white, you're going to be more inclined, perhaps, to not weigh that as heavily because you're not black. It goes into the thinking as we process these things. What is your worldview regarding utilitarianism? Do you the ends justifies the means, a consequentialism, a pragmatism? Hey, look, I'm going to take a look at this, and I'm just going to weigh this, and so whatever the cost is for what I perceive to be the benefit, I don't care what it is, we're going to pay it. That's what de Blasio and Cuomo are saying. Doesn't matter. Death, my death in particular, that is the cost we're not willing to pay, so let everything else suffer. Let people lose their businesses. Bad. Children getting beat up. Bad. Not death. You heard the governor yourself. That is worldview pounding into this issue, which is why you're having disagreements with others. Does this perhaps help you now as you engage in a conversation with this, with loved ones, with friends, help you to maybe, instead of just getting annoyed, how do they not get this? How come, what do you mean they want to open up everything? What is the matter with them? Wait a second. They want us to wear a mask to bed? What? You can't figure them out? This helps us figure them out. So maybe some of the debate, while helpful at the statistical level, we might do well to dig down a little bit deeper to find out what is their starting point, what is their presupposition to try to level that playing field. Because if you don't have an agreement on these 10 or 12 issues at the get-go, you're not going to have agreement with the conclusion. So we need to spend more time talking about these issues, understanding these issues, responding to these issues, if we're going to get that issue to have any sort of consensus. Now then, having said all of that, let's move from the lesser realm, the realm of coronavirus, important, but nowhere near as important as the issue of theology and getting along with your Christian brothers and sisters on theology and living. Next on Wretched Radio.
Would you please like, subscribe, or share this video so other people can enjoy this professional Christian content?